Welcome back, guys. This is Real Talk NBA. Now, with the Clippers winning Game 3 just yesterday against the Suns without Kawhi Leonard, seems like the Suns should have done a lot better, especially considering they got CP3 back. I do think this is probably one of the closer series we've seen so far in this playoffs. So in this video, I'm going to break down who I think is going to win and why. Now before we get this video started, as always, if you like this video, leave a like. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing, and let's get right into it. Now obviously the biggest difference between the two teams right now is that Kawhi is still not back and Chris Paul is back, and that makes a really big difference because that just means that the Suns have two real star players while the Clippers only have one. And while Paul George has been playing at a much better level recently since Kawhi's been out, averaging 29 points per game against the Jazz and Suns, the team is still at a disadvantage without Kawhi, whether or not they've won a game. I think it's funny that Paul George has had his best playoff moments without another star on his team, because before he was on the Thunder, he was known as a great playoff player who in 2013 as a young up-and-coming star went toe-to-toe with peak LeBron James and pushed a series to 7 games pretty much on his own. But ever since he's played with other stars, he's been known as more of a choker, which is funny that he became a lot better since Kawhi got hurt. Now, as far as the matchups, assuming Kawhi returns soon, it will be CP3 versus Pat Bev, and Chris Paul obviously has a huge advantage. Booker versus PG-13, and I actually think that's pretty equal considering Paul George doesn't start choking again. Mikal Bridges versus Kawhi, who obviously Kawhi has a big advantage there. Crowder versus Morris, who I would say is about equal, but Morris might have a slight advantage. And DeAndre Ayton versus Zubac, and Ayton is better in that one. So for the starting lineups, they're actually pretty similar, and I do think both teams have similar depth as well. But who do I think will win? I actually do pick the Suns for this, and that's just because the Suns have been very consistent this whole playoff, and the only reason Chris Paul was out was because of protocol. I think if Chris Paul goes back to the level he was playing at versus Denver, the Clippers don't stand a chance with or without Kawhi. The Clippers do have a history of choking, it's just a proven thing, and the Suns team does not, which does give them a major advantage, especially considering Booker has stepped it up in the playoffs in a big way, more than he needed to and more than I expected of him, as well as Ayton proving that he's a real solid player. I think the Suns, while their advantage is not huge, they do have an advantage over the Clippers. Now, that does not mean that they're guaranteed to win. Chris Paul in his first game back was not playing close to the level that he was against Denver, at least as far as scoring, and that could be worrying if I'm the Suns, considering that he has been, and while Booker did show to be able to win games 1 and 2 without CP3, with Kawhi Leonard returning, he would stand no chance. Obviously, we don't know necessarily what game Kawhi will be back for, and if he misses the rest of the series, it's over for the Clippers. But if he can come back soon, and the Suns don't have all the cards in their favor, they could really get caught off guard. However, I do think the most likely chance is that the Suns win, just because of the fact that they've been more consistent this whole playoffs. I think the Clippers are a great team, and I think it's unfortunate that with this current team they'll probably never be able to make the finals or win a championship. But I also think it's cool that the Suns will be able to finally make the finals when they haven't since 1993 with Charles Barkley. As far as in the finals, what the Suns will do, I do think that depends on who wins out of the East. I think the Bucks are a better team, but the Hawks do have the hot hand and could definitely make the finals, and that would change things up. So we'll have to see who can make it out of the East before I can say anything about who will win the championship this year. But I think it's safe to say that this playoffs has been very interesting. I don't think anyone really predicted it would end up this way, and I like that. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think the Suns will be able to beat the Clippers? Or do you think that the Clippers will make their first ever finals appearance? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you like this video, leave a like. If you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.